Hi guys, Crad here. In this video I want to talk to you about the SureFire 2211 wrist light. So this is a very innovative design that SureFire came out with maybe about a year or so ago. I've actually wanted one since before they were even released, but I just couldn't justify the MSRP price of this for my own uses anyway. But we'll get into that. So this is a light with an aluminum housing. The body is made out of a big chunk of aluminum. Probably goes a long way into factoring in the price, just what it must cost to turn a big chunk of aluminum into this in a factory in the US. It has a Cree XPE LED. So it's a little bit of an older style LED, but it works for this type of light. You don't want one of the XMLs or something like that that's going to need to be driven hard, so you're going to need a larger battery and you're going to generate a lot of heat. It has a built-in lithium-ion battery. I don't know the exact capacity of it. They haven't really talked about like milliamp hour capacity for this battery. What they do is tell you the runtime at different outputs. So this has a high, medium, and low. High is about 180 lumens, and you get about an hour of runtime by SureFire standard. So it seems to be direct drive rather than regulated. That way you can if you're using it in a technical situation, it's not just going to turn off on you. You're going to see a steadily decreasing output, but it's still going to be usable. So they count it as 250% basically. So you got an hour until the 180 lumens drops to 50%. And then you have a medium of 60 lumens, and you'll get about a 4-hour runtime out of that, and a low of 15 lumens for 13 hours. And SureFire is usually very accurate with not only their run times, but also with their lumen outputs. It's usually a pretty accurate out the front number. A lot of companies will inflate it by using theoretical emitter lumens rather than what the light is actually putting out. This weighs in at about 3.7 ounces. It's waterproof to IPX7 standards, which I'm guessing is a slightly lower standard than the one that you normally hear bandied about, which is the IPX8. It's interesting to note this charges with a micro USB charger, the same type of charger that many Android cell phones use, and a lot of other types of electronic devices that you have around your house, other than those darn proprietary Apple devices. The battery, the internal battery, is warranted for 2 years. After that, I would assume that as long as they're still making these or something like them, you should be able to still have the battery replaced. It'll just cost you a fee. The emitter is actually angled at a 35-degree angle, so you can see if you're wearing it, when you're wearing it flat on your wrist, the light's actually going to sort of come away from your hand a bit there. It's angled like that. I guess for tactical purposes. In theory, if you're holding a firearm like this, of course my hand is not really in the picture and my tripod doesn't really go any wider, so you can get an idea of what I'm doing here. If you hold your hand like this, your wrist is going to be angled like this, and hopefully that 35-degree angle is putting the beam of light about where your gun is pointed. SureFire does recommend turning this on before you draw your weapon and not turning it off again until after you holster your weapon. Some people might point out that's a little bit counterproductive to what most people learn to do with their flashlights in a tactical situation, where you don't leave it continuously on. You use it momentarily just to sort of survey the scene, or perhaps blind an opponent, but you don't leave it on constantly, because that's giving away your position. So how you're going to use this in a tactical environment is really up to you. I'm not going to say that you should or shouldn't do it one way or another, because that's not really my area of expertise. I'll talk a little bit about the interface here. So you have these two sort of hard rubber buttons on the side. You press them both at the same time. Comes on in low, you hold it, you got medium and then high. And no matter how long you hold it after that, it's just going to stay on high. One press of either button is going to turn it off. If you press just a single button once, it'll come on in high. Press it again and it'll go off. If you press it twice, just one button, 1, 2, you'll go straight from high to low. You have to do that in rapid succession though. See, those are really all of the modes. A lot of the information that's coming out about this light before it was actually released, it's supposed to have a accelerometer, and you were supposed to be able to program it in such a way that as you draw your weapon, the light will come on, like the motion that you standardly use to draw your weapon would be the motion that triggers the light to come on in high. I thought that sounded like a very interesting technology, and it would have been something that would have been really interesting to see, but it didn't make it into the actual finalized version of the product. There were also images of a tracer watch being built into the body of the light. That would have also been something interesting to see. So you wouldn't be wearing a watch on one wrist and a light on the other wrist. It would have doubled up and maybe seemed a little bit less conspicuous. Alright, so I threw it on here. You can see it does stick out a good bit from your wrist. It is a very bulky item. You might get some questions. Like I said, I've worn this for about 2 weeks. Not many people have really seem to have taken notice of it. So this is my sleeve down here. Sticks out enough in normal use if you're wearing something long sleeve. Like here in Connecticut, it's 19 degrees out when I went to work this morning. I'm not sure how much it's warmed up, but you're going to be wearing long sleeves in that kind of weather. It does seem to stick out enough to still be functional, and it doesn't really cause bunching problems with anything that I've worn so far. The reason I ended up getting one of these was because a friend of mine actually bought 3 of these for his own uses, sort of in breaching situations, but he found that the angle of the light wasn't really hitting where he wanted it to hit when he's carrying out these forced entry scenarios. So he ended up selling all 3 of them quite a bit under even the MAP pricing, the market adjusted pricing. So that's really the only reason that I got one of these. I do see where the money that SureFire is charging for these comes from, just in what it must cost to design and build something like this out of aluminum. I do feel like SureFire may have missed the mark a little bit in as far as how big of a seller these are going to be. I don't know if a lot of people will want to justify what something like this would cost, because there are so many other ways to get light onto a target. But this is a very convenient item to have if you can get it at a good price. So, hope that helps. Thanks for watching.